and the energies we received today. Truly a blissful evening. Today, with the topic session, we will talk about the knowledge of Ramta, one of the enlightened master who was there, very ancient enlightened master, 35,000 years ago. He got enlightened, and he has written number of. He is actually channeled through Jay-Z Knight, uh, who is uh, who is actually an ardent, partner, or she's probably in the inner circle of Ramta during the time, and he's been following her soul for number of lifetimes. And in this lifetime, he's actually, she's Jay-Z Knight. She actually channels Ramta. A lot of the knowledge and wisdom that we are seeing, the books, the white, Ramta White, the Enlightened One. I mean, a lot of books that Ramta has written, all of that has been channeled by her. He channels, and then they also have a lot of sessions. There is a Ramta RSC, right? Ramta School of Enlightenment. They have headquartered here in US, and they also have in India and everywhere, right, throughout the world. The wisdom is very, very profound. Like in our society, especially in PSSM, the knowledge of Seth and knowledge of Ramta is very widely known. Apart from Lopsang Rampa and some of the other Millarappa and all that. The reason for that is one, Tarkam also has written a number of books, more than 150 books, right? His wisdom, he has got a school of wisdom as well, right? So some of these masters have come again and again, and they have channeled to provide the truth. Now today we're going to talk about, I'm going to just talk about the essence of Ramta knowledge, and then as you try to see which one really connects to you, you can go deeper, in reading his subject. But very, very profound and a direct way to show that we are God, right? Every human is divine from the creation. They are not separate from God, right? That is the essence of Ramta's knowledge, and very, very deep subject. And then he also takes us through a lot of different ways as to how you recognize it. What are the practices that you need to bring in, uh, what are the things that you need to look at, whether you have to focus on human divinity, or you have to focus on consciousness, or you have to focus on creating your own reality with manifestation, how your thought can be your blessing and thought can be a cursing, so like that. And his lifestyle has been like he's a ardent warrior who has actually become a kind of a king, right? Like Alexander. He has conquered a lot of empires and has killed like so many in the wars, and so he waged so many wars with the frustrations and all that from his childhood. So comes out with this, and then from the knowledge, right, once he gets that ascended mastery, he actually reached that enlightenment. 35,000 years back he was on the earth. uh, so the knowledge is very, very deep and very, very direct. So he talks about, I'm going to just use core teachings, right? I'm not going to go into the every topic in detail, but he'll just go into the core teachings, because once we understand his core teachings, we may get connected to one or two things, and then you want to go deeper, you can go certainly go look into the deeper aspect of it. Now the most important aspect is we are God, right? His teachings always talk about we are God. We are nobody, no different than the creator himself. That's the number one teaching that Ramta does, right? And then his other teaching, which the book, right, the white book, right, which talks about the brain, how the system works, how the nerves work, and all that, right? Consciousness and energy create the reality. Whatever you focus your consciousness on, it manifests through that energy. It is absolutely essential. Wherever your attention goes, your energy goes. And how do you manifest it? You manifest it through your thoughts, right? So his view of thinking, his view of saying, right, the truth is thought is the blueprint of creation. A very, very strong statement. Thought is the blueprint of creation. And he goes into the deeper aspect of how the thought, how the electromagnetic form of a thought that get materialized, when held with a particular set of intention, and then an emotion that you're trying to attach to it. How do I change things? How do I bring things into reality? How do I create, you know how do I desire a futuristic lifestyle, that I wanted to have a plan. So he talks about, you can plan a week from now, you can plan a month from now, you can exactly in your desires, you can create that plan and then live that. You can do a year at a time, a 10 years at a time. So he gives a lot of different examples through that process, and always talks about mind over matter. There is nothing like matter, right? For him, the matter is the essence, is the result of what your mind is thinking, right? Mind always governs over matter. The body and environment respond to the consciousness. What we look at it is typically, I am more into the physical activity, physical form, physical things, what is happening, right? Ramta is more towards your mind is actually the one that is creating the matter, right? Your matter is only an outcome. Your mind is the one that's actually creating everything for you. So it is an interesting concept when you look at the knowledge from Ramta as to how these things are coming together. Seth also talks in a similar pattern, but his process is more about how do I get the intentions, how do I visualize, how do I manifest, how do I talk about truth and all that, right? The other important aspect is observe the creations, right? When you observe, you create the reality, right? The act of observing influences the outcomes. This is the most important aspect, right? If you look at quantum mechanics, now the science has evolved to a point. I mean, Ramta has been doing it from 80s, right? He's been channeling and he's giving a lot of wisdom. But in the recent times, we talk about quantum mechanics, quantum state, where you have infinite possibilities of realities out there, and wherever you are looking and observing it, that is the one that you are pulling it down, right? So the act of observing influences the outcomes, aligning with your quantum reality or quantum physics or quantum mechanics. Why do that matters? Because when you are trying to observe and look at a particular thing, you may have thousand things that may be happening. Out of thousand things that are happening in your life, you probably are only focusing or attentively looking at five or six of them, or maybe 10 of them. That's it. So at this very moment, only these 10 things that you are surrounded with are the ones that matter. The rest of the things doesn't matter. Like, for example, what is happening in India at this very moment, you don't care about that. What you care about is what is happening in front of you right now. But it doesn't mean that the reality is not happening. That doesn't mean that outcomes are not happening at that part of the world, right? So it talks about that aspect as to how you bring that reality downwards, right? How your thought becomes the blueprint of creation, and when you are trying to focus on that particular thought, how that gets your reality and becomes that future, the desired outcome what you're looking for. And he also emphasizes very much on the power of present moment, right? The present moment, he says, the present moment is the power. When he talks about, he also gives us examples and all that, but what he's like, he's giving the message is the only now exists. The present moment now is the only one that exists. The past, the future that you are looking for are only the projections of mind. It is a very, very direct subject, right? When you start to look at it, whatever you are trying to think about your past, that has already happened. You cannot change that. So it is only a projection of your mind. Whatever may be the future that you are trying to look at, you have no idea, right? You may have an intention, Again, that intention of what your future should look like is a projection of mind as well. So, but what is real is this very moment. The fact that I'm sitting and talking to you in this second, that is real, right? So how do you make sure that he talks about some exercises, mental exercises, how amygdala operates, how neocortex, how limbic brain operates. He talks about a lot of this scientific and neurological and neuroscience aspect of the physical, brain, and how the brain and the neurons get curated to make sure a particular intention is getting desired, and then it's getting manifested as a future item for you and all that, right? He goes very deep. He also gives scientific details and all that. And in some cases he also explains that some of these things are not there on the earth as well, right? He says that this knowledge has not transcended to earth yet. It will probably come in coming years or coming century and all that. The point is, we always are supposed to be in the here and now, but my mind takes me to the past and future. If I am able to be here right now, I am a observer, I am an entity, I am in the reality, I am the soul, right? I call myself as a soul. My sixth sense will be active. Everything will happen in that very moment. But except for that to be in that moment, I am everywhere else. That's what Ramta says. Ramta says that you have to be living in that reality, which is happening in that moment. But what happens is, because of the mind, either we project to the back past or we project the future, we reflect the future. Sometimes you may intend to have a better future. Sometimes it may very well be so that you may have the intent, but you don't have the energies or the attention diverted towards it. So this is a very, very, a direct way of showing that, if you are not living in the present, then you are creating your own destiny in alternate ways, right? How can I get bliss? How can I be happier? How can I be peaceful? Is when you start to live in the moment. So without becoming mindful, without understanding the core principle as to why you need to be mindful, you are expecting, see, everyone wants to be peaceful, everyone wants happiness in our lives, everyone looks for, hey, I do not want any kind of suffering. But what is the outcome? How do I do, what do I do, right? What do I need to practice to make sure that I'm not going into that? Is the only practice is live in the current moment, in the present moment. That's why he says the power, present moments is the power. Your entire energy, your entire creativity or reality happens in that one moment, present moment. So present is always a gift. Enjoy it and bring it together. And then he goes into little deeper, how do I overcome my belief systems? So he talks about whatever may be your mind that you are perceiving, right? How do I potentially look at it, right? The thought process is very simple, right? Beliefs are self-imposed boundaries of any potential, right? Whatever have been taught in my childhood, I totally believe in it. They have been implanted, right? I've been basically born and brought up in a way that these are the things that just happen to you. That's it. And then you accept it without questioning at your childhood, and those have patronized over a period of years. And now here you are. Everything what you see is you believe. You go do certain things based on that belief, right? So his knowledge talks about how do you overcome limiting your beliefs. Why should you believe anything, right? And he gives a classic example, right? You have, like, for example, you have been told that, okay, the pets like dog, right? Or cat, the domestic pets. When you are, when even the childhood, right, when they are with you, you don't feel scared, you don't feel like running away. Everybody has been brought up in a very cool environments where we all understand that dogs and cats, they don't bite, they are like that and all that. Nobody questions why this animal has been called a dog, why this animal name is cat, right? They just gave a name to it. They just showed this is what it is, and these are the characteristics of this animal, and this animal is very human friendly, and then just live with it. Everybody accepted it, and we are living with it. What if there is no name for it? Who gave that name, right? So we don't challenge to the core belief system as to why these things are happening the way they are happening. You may do so in one or two occasions where you are really putting your logic mind together to understand why, like for example, when I say soul, you have that question, okay, why, how, who am I, right? Where do this soul come from? Where do this body come from? I have read about it, I have heard about it, but I don't know about it, right? But in so many different belief systems that we have, you don't question anything. You just mechanically, it's a dogmatic lifestyle. Every one of us will just go through it. That's it. So, Ramta specifically talks about how do you overcome that? What are the things that you need to do? Why you take anything granted? If somebody is coming and telling you do meditation, why you need to say that, okay, it worked for you, doesn't mean that does it work for me? Or do I have to question that is meditation right for me? How do I know if I don't do it? How do I know if I even don't try it? So for Ramta's knowledge, he would never negate any conversation. He would just bring the conversation to a point where it becomes more practical and reasonable for you to accept it, and then see whether that makes sense or not. Again, it is all about truth. His wisdom is all about truth because he's an enlightened master. And in the same token, he covers the aspect of how manifestation, right? How an emotion can fuel your manifestation. Why is it important that just having a thought alone cannot get you the future reality? See, I wanted to buy a car, right? I wanted to buy a Tesla car, right? Let's suppose. Just by thinking about it, I want to buy a Tesla car doesn't get you the Tesla car. He says the feeling amplifies your thought energy, hence accelerates the creation process of that thought. So if I bring that emotion is the fuel to the fire. My thought is already there. If I put some fuel, like the fire is churning through my thought, if I put that fuel, the fire burns, it accelerates. So, and then you will create that future in a very shortest time. And whatever you attach your emotion to, your subconscious cannot differentiate whether you have really thinking about it or you're doing about it, because subconscious cannot differentiate from your neural system whether you are doing it or thinking it. So that's why emotion is the most important factor, and he talks about typical examples as to how you bring emotion in a particular state. If I want to come out of, if I want to be in perfectly healthy, right? He says how you bring that intention, and then how do you attach an emotion to it, and how do you visualize it to see that that is your future next step. What happens in the process, right? He gives some examples like that, and then goes through different scenarios as to how it works, how it doesn't work. In most cases, a lot of us have intentions. I mean, every one of us have one or two intentions, right? We may not be living in desires all the time, but we certainly have a couple of desires, right? I want to have a healthy life. I want to have a happy, peaceful life. I wanted to live in a society where everything is harmonious. I wanted to do a lot of, seva, charitable work. I wanted to be part of the PSSM society, to serve the community, to gain more knowledge, to start looking at enlightenment, in this lifetime. I don't want to come back in the next life. There are like so many of that. Some of them may have material gains where you are looking for, money or relationships. or you wanted to get some kind of a good job, or some kind of identity in the society. But for everything, the source is the energy, right? How do I get that energy? How do I retain that energy? How do I sustain, basically? And then how do I direct that energy towards my intention? So some of those things he talks about it. That's why emotion is a very, very good and very important one. And how brain is the divine instrument, right? How my spiritual dimension, if I'm moving from second, third, fourth, fifth dimension, right? I'm in third dimension. How do I go into fifth dimension? How my focus of wiring and rewiring happens in my brain, that will really take me from third dimension to fifth dimension, right? He talks about how your brain connects your physical and spiritual dimensions. How do I wire and rewire things together? What kind of How do I train my mind to be more disciplined and focused? Because most of the time, if you look at an enlightened master, they have a very, very focused mind. I wouldn't even say it's mind, it's just the focused attention. Even in case of Patriji, right? He said in 20 years back or 30 years back, he said, we will have Jhana Jagat and we will have so many pyramids coming up. At that time, there was nothing. But he was very clear in his mind, the vision of it. There was nothing. And he said, that is how it is going to be. And look at now, right? We have thousands of pyramids in India, thousands, not hundreds, not tens, thousands. And internationally, we are building so many pyramids. That discipline of focus is very training your mind to sustain that focus. That will lead to mastery over reality. When I say I create my own reality, that is how I create my own reality. I don't create arbitrarily. I don't create, more like, haphazardly. I create with a very balanced, focused structure. I know exactly what I want and where my energies need to go. And that alone is where that requires you to have mental discipline. Ramta talks about some of those aspects, how you become that. What I am thinking, what I am doing, what I am feeling, and what I am being. He gives some examples as to how do you kind of go there and do that, some exercises and all that. But I think the more important is trying to understand that it is not always that we are so stuck in the physical reality. We are only doing things. There is no feeling. There is no, that intention of that focused intention that I want this to be manifested, right? I don't want anything else right now. My focus is I want to manifest it. Why is that you are not able to manifest it? The simple reason is you're distracted. And why is my mind distracted? I don't have enough energies. Why is that I don't have enough energies? I don't have the fuel. Why is that I don't have the fuel? I don't have the knowledge. You can go on like that to come to the bottommost. Ultimate reality is the practice. I don't practice. I talk about it. I sit about it. I ponder about it, but I don't practice it. I don't bring that into my life. Hence, it won't happen. Everybody has intention, but why every intention is not getting manifested? Because you don't have the enough fuel, you don't have the enough energy, and you don't have the right track to manifest it. The feeling has to be right. The being will become right, and the doing has to be there with sincerity should be there, the discipline doing. And then he goes into becoming the observer. And how do I become the god, right? How do I become that pure awareness? This is one of the very, very, I would say, unique subject from Ramta, as he talks about the pure awareness, right? The state of enlightened, where he talks about how you are observing everything in this world, including your body, without any attachment. Because when you are without attachment, it leads to pure awareness. And that awareness is a state where you are trying to get everything together, the state of divinity. You're trying to build that state of divinity. So he talks about some of these aspects as to how you become the observer, how you become aware of your own being, while living in a society, while being in this, dual world, right? How do i how do i manifest and create my day, consciously designing your outcomes with the intention and visualization. He gives you some practices as to how to do that. I am sitting today, I wanted to create my tomorrow, I wanted to plan my tomorrow. How do I plan my tomorrow? Consciously design the outcomes, how my day should go tomorrow, through my intention and visualization. It's a beautiful concept that Ramta brings up, that the mind has so much power that we hardly use its power. Right? We are stuck in the past and the future, that we don't even see the power of mind. Like anything and everything is possible with the mind. He says there is no good or bad, there is no like or dislike. It is all the mind game that helps you to go this way versus that way. There is absolutely nothing wrong in this world. The world is beautiful as it stands, because everyone has come to this world to experience something, and they are experiencing in that very moment. Whether they realize it, whether nourish it or balance it's a different thing. But the design is happening without flawless. The universe is running the show absolutely without any flaw. But when I look at it from my mind, I see that there is lot of injustice, lot of hatred, lot of drama that is going on, lot of emotion that is flowing in, flying out. Everything I see is in the negation. So Ramta talks about this concept called, it is your mind is the mirror, the world is your mind is the source and the world is the mirror. Right? Your mind, whatever your mind wants to see is what you see in the world. It is not the other way around. Because there is so much good in this world, I am not able to see it. Why I am not able to see it? Because my mind only is seeing the negative, because my mind is negative. So it is important to understand and distinguish between the power of the mind and the godly divinity that you have within you through soul. So he differentiates those two. When I want to use my mind to get something, whether it is a smallest of the smallest thing to the highest of the highest, how do I do that? What do I need to do? I use my mind power, whether it is manifestation or energy or attention or balance or visualization, whatever the technique that I'm using, I'm able to create all that what I need with mind power. When I want to get into a state of divinity, I wanted to be in the pure awareness, I'm able to start observing without attachments, I'm able to get there, right? Because he brought this, he actually gave a statement called death is an illusion. He really said that death is an illusion. Because consciousness in the truth, if you look at it, that's what our ancient scriptures also talk about it. All the gurus, talk about the same concept. Consciousness never dies. It is just transitioning to another frequency. I'm just moving away from the physical reality to the astral reality. That's what his death is all about. Right? And from astral reality, I go into the casual realities. And then I come back again and then take birth. Right? So if I am withdrawing my physical frequency, then that is death. That doesn't mean that I as a soul or I as a reality never dies. It is always there, because I is the consciousness. Consciousness is eternal. So then why is that I am crying? Why is that I am going through all this? Why is that I feel this, I feel that and all? Is because we don't have that knowledge or the energies to be in that state of observe, right? Everything has to be observed without attachment. The bare truth of truths. But I don't have the energy, or nor my mind is disciplined enough to say that, okay, you sit the mind won't sit, right? Mind quarrels and mind goes out. You say your mind, hey, sit for 5 minutes in meditation, it will say no. The next 5 minutes is going to be a big, it's a war within, right? Because I don't have a disciplined life, I don't have the focus, nor I don't understand, I don't have the knowledge to be able to grasp that. So how does the true liberation comes? How do I move myself from the state of ignorance to the state of enlightenment? What is the path I need to follow? What are the things that I need to bring into my life to make myself disciplined? How do I believe in myself that I am God? What should I do to make you believe that you are God? It's a very, very fascinating subject, right? Every scripture, every master, even Patriji, everybody said, you are God. Right? Dear masters, dear friends, and my dear co-creators. Right? That's what Sir Patriji talks about, right? Says all the time. Why is that I am not able to express or execute that power of divine within me? It's because of, just the simple answer for that is illusion. Right? I live in the illusion world where I think that I am nobody and everybody else is a priority to me. Right? I don't live life for myself, I live life for others. When you do not have you, when you do not know your own identity, everything else is futile, right? So that's why ascension is very important. So Ramta, he talks about ascension process, right? Ascension, how do I ascension? Through knowledge. That's why knowledge is the most important weapon. Without that, you will not know where you are going. No matter how much deep you have gone into meditation, if you do not have the knowledge, then you cannot get enlightened. They both go together hand in hand, knowledge and your energy practice, right? Yoga, knowledge and yoga, they go together, and through that you reach the right state of bliss. So this is another thing, right? How do I get true liberation? True liberation is done through the magic of words, or am I able to talk about it? Am I able to express about it? Am I able to feel about it? Or is the enlightenment there in being in the state? What is true enlightenment? If I believe myself that I am enlightened, am I enlightened? Anyone? Quick question. If you believe yourself that you are enlightened, are you enlightened?
Sir, it is the awakening of the true consciousness. Then only you are enlightened.
Yeah. So, yes, right. The true liberation comes from experimental knowing, not theoretical knowing, experimental knowing, not by your blind belief system. I blindly believe that I am enlightened will not make me enlightened. I can aspire to get enlightened. My intention, I may have a great intention, powerful intention that I want to get enlightened. I have a corresponding feeling to get enlightened, but I don't do anything. Then you will never become that enlightened. Right? So, like that, ascension through knowledge is all about experimenting. How do you bring that knowledge and you experiment into your practice? And how do you get out of that dogmatic lifestyle where everything runs as a habit or runs as a routine, and you come into from a ritualistic state and you come into much higher state of practices? How do I bring my awareness from the lowest state of habits to the highest state of practice? Only in that highest state you are ready for that self realization. Otherwise, it is not going to come to you. Right? How do I become a master of self? So, when I say enlightenment, right, Ramta gives a classic example, right? What is enlightenment? Enlightenment is mastering your emotions, your thoughts, and the creation power. Like I'm able to create anything. I have mastery on my thoughts. I have mastery in my emotions, on my emotions. So I know exactly where to pull it down, where to keep it balanced, where to push it. How do I create what I need, what I don't need, where is my intent going, what is the purpose? Everything is there. If I am a master of all those things, then I am enlightened. So, if you start to bring some of the knowledge what Ramta talks about into your daily practices, you will see a shift and a transformation shift in your progress. Whether the way you live your life, the way of living will shift, or the way of your viewpoints, right? The way you kind of look at world, you have a different view now, because now that you understand the truth behind it, so the perspectives will change, will shift. And the most absolute thing is you start to gain more energies. You feel like you're more energetic. You're able to do things in a much profound way than going through the struggle. There is no struggle in the process. No matter what is happening, nothing seems to be a problem to you anymore, because you are living in that moment with the power, right? Either you are observing things as they are coming to you through the divine aspect, or you are using your mind power to be able to navigate it. Either ways it works in the initial stages, but as you go deeper and all, you become more observant, you become pure awareness, then it starts to naturally form for you. You're not trying to be someone, right? You are what you are. So it naturally comes to us. So this shift is the most important thing as to how do I realize that I am not the one. I'm not here to have human experience, right? I'm a divine here to have human experience. Like Patriji talks about this concept, right? You are not. We feel that we are humans, right? And then I'm here to have human experience. You're not here to have human experience. You are a divine entity, came here to experience the humanity. You are already divine. There is nothing in you that is not divine. Every piece of you is a divine. But then why do I not realize it? Why do I not execute, or kind of the outcomes, right? Whatever outcomes I'm looking at, I need to create this reality. I need to create my future. Why is that none of those things are working for me? Is because you have been implanted the belief system that God is outside of you, you are not God. Every one of us. So what happens? You are trying to bring that concept into you, now shifting back and trying to understand what is truth. Truth is everywhere. When truth is everywhere, why is that I am not part of truth? You are part of the truth. Then who is the one that's not accepting? My mind is not accepting. Why is that mind not accepting? Because mind has been trained over years, lifetimes, that you are not the God. God is somewhere out. You have limited power. God has unlimited power. It is the universe and the God that is running the show. I am just a puppet. I don't have any power. Suddenly you heard about this truth, and now you wanted to shift it. What happens? You wanted to make it happen overnight. For centuries you have believed yourself that you are not God, and suddenly once you know about it, you wanted to shift it. It is going to take time. That's why you have to patronize it. That's why mastery, you have to get into that mastery state. Consistency and daily routine, or daily practice, not routine, daily practice will help us to get there. So he talks about meditation. He also talks about what kind of practices you need to bring into your daily life. How do you make sure that the shift is happening in a natural way? You're not forcing anything to happen, but rather you're seeing through it, right? Am I, like everybody looks at life, right? I'm going through certain things in my life, right? I go through day-to-day activities. Are you going in your life, or are you going through in your life? Everybody will say, I'm going my life, I'm going my way in my life, it's all going on. But are you growing in your life? That's the question. When you are living with conscious awareness, when you are living with your power of mind, when you understand the internal concepts of your own system, your own identity, who you are, and why you have this BMI system, and how these work, you are aligned to the universe. At that very point, you are living very consciously. When you are living in consciously, you are growing every moment in your life. You are not going. Going means every experience that you are going through, you're not learning anything. You're just going, experience is coming in your life. You're actually looking at that experience. You're figuring out how to overcome that experience, or how to avoid that experience, or how to hide that experience, and then go to the next. You're going, you're not growing. Growing means every experience that you are coming, there is a learning. That can only happen if you are constantly aware. It is absolutely essential that your awareness is always there in every, even the single thought should not come to you without your awareness. It should not pass. That's the level of awareness Ramta is talking here. And how does that come? Without practice, without you watching TV, or you watching, sitting and having fun with the family. It is not going to come. You got to put time to yourself. You got to understand your own, what is good of knowing everything in the world without knowing who you are? What good it is? It has no meaning. you know I'm learning about my family, I'm learning about my society, I'm learning about my way of living, I'm learning about my education, I'm learning about everything else except for me. Who am I? What good it is if I don't know who am I? Because I'm going to die anyways if I don't know, right? So how death becomes illusion, he also goes into little deeper on the subject. Every subject that he touches, he takes into like the field work, right? Manifesting desires through applied consciousness. How do I bring all of that together? How do I become, a focused, attentive trainer? How do I sustain my consciousness within my system? How do I do the grid work, right? Sending my consciousness to future events, or shape my tomorrow or my outcomes. How do I do that? He talks about some of those things. Remote viewing is another subject. Telepathically, how you can expand your awareness beyond the state of body. I can actually pull my consciousness out of this body, and then outer body experience, right? And then take that into some other body, and then become active there, and then come back. He actually does one experiment, when the fights are happening and all that, right? How does he go astrally and look at the warriors who are fighting, and then try to calm them down after they get enlightened and all? I mean, he's got a lot of different ways to do that. But in a gist, if you ask, right, hey, what is the essence of Ramta? Is you are the source, you are the creator, and the experience. That's it, right? Very, very important. You are the source, you are the creator, and the experience. Everything is you. And then on the mind level, thought is the seed, the emotion is the power, and the reality is your harvest. That is Ramta. If I sum it up, right? And then you have different, he has got about 14 books he has written. I mean, maybe smaller books he's got more, but majorly 14 books. Everybody reads Ramta's knowledge, right? Lot of wisdom on these things. Your thought is the seed, your emotion is the power. The moment you bring emotion to the thought, that is the power, and the reality is the harvest. If we understand this one statement, what he gave, your life will transform instantly. That's it. Because if you break this cycle, whether the thought pattern or the emotion attachment to the thought, if you are able to break it, you will never be able to create any negativity in your life. From here on, it is only positivity. Because whatever you are bringing your thought and you're attaching your feeling with that emotion is getting reality. That is the real. That is my future reality. So I'm able to break that cycle by either being aware of my thoughts, or even if my thought comes, I'm not giving that emotion. I'm breaking that cycle. Then I don't create the reality. So that's the very subjective conversation, but I think it is more evident that as you go through the Ramta wisdom, book by book, and a lot of detailed subject is there. Every book is 200-300 pages. It takes quite a bit of a time to digest Ramta's knowledge. You may have to read it multiple times each book for you to understand the concepts of what Ramta is teaching. But very high regarded master, especially in the pyramid society. We have Ramta, like the way we have RSC. There are pyramid masters who actually talk about Ramta's wisdom. Allah Baksh, if you know, from India, he's one of the he talks about the wisdom of Ramta. Right, he has got a group where WhatsApp group where they do a lot of Ramta exchange of Ramta's knowledge in multiple different ways. They do run some kind of sessions. He actually goes into even at India pyramid centers, right? Kartal and Bangalore, and he goes and talks about Ramta, wisdom, and how this wisdom can help you. And he says that you can live forever. You actually release a command right now saying that I'm going to live 500 years, and then you just focus on that, and then you will be able to live 500 years, right? Because death is an illusion. He also talks about some of those things. I mean, it is very easy when you understand the concept behind it. It may seem like it's a laughing thing, when you say I want to live for 500 years. You may question that, why do you want to live for 500 years, right? And the question comes that, okay, if I don't live, then what do I do? Where do I go, right? So it's like, every entity, every individual who is going through this journey of enlightenment, they have their own way of look and feel of things. And some want to experience with the body, some want to experience without the body. Ultimately, the reality is consciousness. Until you get there, everything else is drama. So very profound and detailed subject. So I'll stop here. I mean, I don't want to go too deep into the subject, but open it up for any questions. Any questions? No questions? Have any one of you read Ramta's books in the past or reading it now? Anyone there? I mean, I'm just wondering. All right, we have quite audience today, participants, so that's fine. All right, masters, if no further questions, then let's call it a night. We'll see you tomorrow. For those of you who are coming to the Diwali celebrations here, let's meet up early in the evening. We'll have great time. For those of you who are outside the state, we'll see you all next week. All right. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening. Take care. Bye-bye.